Welcome to Soulful Spaces, Junk Journaling Techniques. Join me on this journey of creativity and faith as we are going to explore the art of junk journaling. So we are going to be transforming ordinary materials into extraordinary works of art, all the while deepening our connection with God. In today's episode of Soulful Spaces, we are going to open our junk journal, but I'd rather call it treasure journal, and we are going to play with a different substrate today, and hopefully I will be able to teach you something new. So what I've decided to make today is I decided to use up all those paper napkins that I have, and I made them into paper, like paper, right? And I'm going to show you exactly how this wonderful technique that I learned over from Kathy's Garden, where we're going to iron our paper napkins onto Reynolds freezer paper. So I'm going to show you that in a minute. But here's what I've made for today. And the envelope, the paper napkin we're going to use is this beautiful one. I just love this with the birds. Isn't it pretty? So that's the one we're going to use. And obviously I've already done it. And I did coffee dye on the back, so it's got a nice back. And I'm going to show you how we're going to make this kind of a slide on. It's a fold, and then we're going to attach it, and then there's going to be a place to have notes. So here's what we've made today. So I think you're going to really enjoy this if you've never done paper napkins. So let's begin. The first thing that you have to do is get your paper napkin that you want to use. And paper napkins come in plies, and most of them have a 3-ply. And all we want is the top, the one top decoration. This is only a 2-ply. It looks like a 2-ply. So that'll work fine. So you're gonna just pull that apart gently. Some people save this. I don't know, I don't really save it. I don't really use it. And there's our paper napkin. It is all ready. Now, this is the other piece of the one that I used, and you see how nice it comes out, and then we're gonna do a coffee dye on the back. So you get out a piece of Reynolds freezer paper, the size that you need. Okay, and we are going to be ironing it onto the shiny side. The back side is just plain paper, okay? So we're gonna be ironing it onto the shiny side. And I've already gotten my iron out. I think I'm gonna just trim this because we don't need all this extra stuff on my desk, and hopefully you'll be able to see it a little bit easier. It'll be easier for me to manipulate on the camera, okay? So you're gonna lay your paper napkin out, as I said, onto the shiny side of the Reynolds freezer paper. You are going to get your little handy iron out, and I have this on max, and we're gonna, of course it keeps wanting to roll over, right? We're gonna start in the middle, and we're gonna work to the edge. Now you do not want to run your iron onto that plastic back paper. Why? Because it will melt onto your iron, and then all of a sudden your iron is all messed up and won't work. Now this is a really fun project to do in kind of a mass make if you want to. If you have a lot of paper napkins, I know for years I've been collecting them. I've shown you a couple other ways where you can just glue them on directly onto something. I did that in the Praise God series that we just finished. And this just comes out totally different because you're not worrying about it tearing and using Mod Podge or whatever. Yeah, I gotta be careful. I'm heating on that mat. I don't want it to get too hot on my mat. I'm just gonna keep lifting it up. If you're gonna do a mass make, I would put down a towel Or go ahead and do it on your ironing board if you actually even have an ironing board. So, pretty much we got most of it really glued down. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set that aside for a second. I'm going to set my iron aside, and I'm going to trim around the edges. And the reason I'm doing that is so I can get the edges down all the way. And as I mentioned, if I go off the edge, what happens is you mess up your iron, which you don't want to do. Now mine's a little travel iron that I got off of Amazon, I think less than $20. I bought one of those mini ones, and they're a piece of junk. They don't even get hot. So let's get that trimmed. I really hope you're enjoying this series. I am really enjoying making faith art ephemera and making videos and showing you how we can, yes, junk journal, and yes, add faith. Now, the one thing that you're going to see in this series is this is a lot of techniques for making the ephemera. It's not as much about spending actual time in God's Word while we're doing this series, because what I'm showing you is how you can, let's see, get this really hot, how you can include spaces for God's Word. That's what we're doing in this series, okay? So we're going to, that's why I call it faith art, because it is. And you know what? That is just not acting right. Hold on one second. Let me get some paper and put it under there, because I don't want to mess up my mat. That way I can just go right to the edge. There we go. That's much smarter, Diane. There we go. There we go. And we're almost finished. Now, do you coffee dye? That's the question. Have you coffee dyed? I'll tell you how to make a jar, I guess. First of all, I don't drink coffee, never have. I don't like it. I don't like the smell of it, but I do like the color of it. So what I did was I kept one of my glass jars of whatever it was, pickles, beets, I don't know what it was. And I took maybe a cup of hot water, and then I put quite a few tablespoons of very inexpensive coffee granules. I guess I got them from Dollar Tree. And then when I'm done with it, I put it right back in the refrigerator. And that way it is continually ready. Now, of course, I'm doing this on camera, and this does not want to stick down today. I did the other day. Sure, it is hot enough. Yeah. Okay, come on. It's like it's not even. Oh no, I see what I just did. This really did have another ply. No wonder I can't get it to stick. Oh, goodness sake. Okay, well now you just saw me make a big mistake, which, you know what? I used to get upset. I didn't want to show people that I made a mistake. And now the good news is, look, you see me make a mistake. I couldn't figure out why it was not sticking down. So the good news, look, it just came right back off. So we'll just get another piece of freezer paper out, and we'll do this the right way. So now you just learned a lesson. Make sure that if it's a 3-ply envelope, which I guess it was, and I couldn't feel it or see it, that you really make sure you take that off and you get down to the 1 ply, which is what I'm trying to do right here. Okay, we're gonna do this all over again. So let me trim this. So we don't have quite as much paper on my desk. There we go. And I'm gonna run it on this. There we go. Of course, that's full of glue. Let me get some new pages. Are blank, they don't have glue. Okay. Now it should work like magic. Again, do I have my plastic up? Yes, I have got the plastic side up. Are we down to 1 ply? Yes. Okay, now let's see if we can get this to work. Oh, this is gonna be a great video. I get to show you how I couldn't figure out why it's not really holding. Kind of looked like it was, but it really wasn't, was it? Nope. So, lesson learned. Lesson is make sure you get to the 1 ply, because this is, it does go on there nicely, right? But you just have to be at the 1 ply. There we go. Let's get that nice. Again, we started in the middle and worked out, which works much better so we don't mess up our... There we go. Now it's working. You know, if you've never made a video, you have no idea. It actually takes a lot more than people ever think about, because I usually make it in advance and then I make it again under video, because I want to make sure that it's going to work, what my idea was. So, of course, I didn't do that today, because I went, well, you just made a whole bunch of these, you know, like probably a month or 2 ago. Why wouldn't it work, Diane? Well, it wouldn't work because you didn't have it. 1 ply. So, yeah, this will be a fun video. You get to see Diane's mistakes. Okay, now we're going to go back and do, like I said, let me get my iron down. We're going to trim it right up to the very edge. So then it will become 1 piece, which is the whole goal. Turning a napkin into a piece of paper. Now, one of the other things, I'm going to do another video, is that I have a lot of old 12 by 12 scrapbook paper. I am not buying any more scrapbook paper on pads, printed paper, because I make it digitally, right? But I can't make 12 by 12. I don't have a printer that prints 12 by 12 paper. So there's a time when you really want 12 by 12 paper. Well, as I was thinking up this idea for us for today, I realized this is like a 12 by 12 sheet of paper now. And so I am going to make another video and use it as a 12 by 12 and do one of those wonder, you know, the 12 by 12 one-page wonder projects. I'm going to use it with a napkin. So you'll see that in an upcoming video. There we go. Now, okay. Well, I'm being real. I could have cut that out of the video, but I'm not going to, because I'm going to show you. Yep. I might speed it up and just say, oh, there's my mistake. See how nice? Yeah, now it's working really nice. Oh, okay, I needed that laugh today, evidently. Okay. One more corner, and I think we are done ironing. And I think that I messed my board up. I think there's a big bubble in it now. Okay, Diane. That is done. Now, what do we do next? What we do next is, you don't have to do this step. Okay, you can leave it white. I've got some others that I've done. Oh, I don't have them sitting beside me, that I just left white. I messed this all up. There's a big bubble here now. Oh, fun. Okay, but I just wanted to show you how to do the, so here's the little jar that I have with my coffee that I made quite a while ago. And you want to use a foam applicator like this. And you just do that. You just put it all over. And obviously this will have to dry before I can show you other fun things with it, but that's how you coffee dye. Now when I coffee dye lots of papers, older papers, I bring in my drying rack. I don't know if you have one of those. Because I live in Florida and I go to the pool all the time, I have one of those expandable drying racks, and I leave it up. It never goes down. It stays in my garage. Anyway, I bring that in and I use clothespins and I hang the papers on my drying rack, and that just works great. I put a towel underneath so obviously this doesn't go on the floor. But overall, that's the way I do stuff. Okay, and of course, doesn't matter, nothing has to be perfect about coffee dyeing. And then I just rinse this out and save it for next time. So that's how to make a napkin into paper. So we're going to set this aside and let it dry. So I'm letting that piece dry, and I thought I would show you some examples of the, once they're dried, how wonderful they are. So that's the envelope that we just did. That's my second one. And then I had this really pretty one. Look how beautiful that one is. And I coffee dyed that. Some of these I've coffee dyed and some I haven't. So see, I haven't done that one. Here's a gorgeous napkin that I made into a piece of paper that I've coffee dyed. Now this would go in a tall and skinny. You could do it that way, or you could just basically cut this design out and put it on something. It's just that napkins come so, there's so many pretty ones, right? So here's all the ones that I've done. So now you just use it as a piece of scrapbook paper, right? That's a fun one. And if you look online, there's lots of places that sell individual paper napkins, because you don't want to have to, most of these are an individual. Like I bought them online, meaning you buy one set for most places is two of the same paper napkin, okay? So I just bought them, that way. So aren't they really pretty? And then the cool part, as I said, those are the smaller size, but look how big these are. This is 13, I think, yeah. These are 13 by 13 napkins. So there's a great piece of 12 by 12 that you could use to make a really fun album, right? And the trick is they're repeated patterns, so some of the things that you make, you have to pay attention to the patterns. And then I got this one. This is cute. I don't know what I'll ever use it for. I thought about like for an Easter thing, and I might be able to. And I loved this one. See how it's a repeat pattern? So this one would be fun to do this direction, right? Yeah, and then you have a fold like that. So anyway, that's how you make these beautiful giant pieces of gorgeous, your own scrapbook paper out of paper napkins. So let's work on what we would do with that napkin once we're done. So you would cut yours up if you have one. As I mentioned, the design goes different ways. Now let me show you. You can tell, see the birds are on this side, so this was a different part of the envelope, so I've used it because I wanted to be able to see the birds that were not upside down. And so I cut it. Now you would cut this you can cut according to the design, number one, or you can cut according to how it fits into your journal. That's up to you. And I wanted to do one of those wraparound pieces, and that's what we're going to finish up. So once I trimmed it, I corner rounded it, and I used that this to punch the notch. This is from Spellbinders, and punched the notch there. I took a piece of music paper and did that, and obviously rounded all the edges. And then I used a eyelet, because I wanted to have this bulb pin hanging off. And what I'm going to be putting in this, these are pieces from my, hold on, let me make sure I remember what I'm saying. It's a colossal kit, the colossal kit. So, no, the ultimate kit. Not get it yet. So these are from my colossal kit and my ultimate kit. And all I did was punch a hole and put one of the rings around it, the hole protector, and we're going to be able to stick those right in there. And then this is from my ultimate kit. The ultimate kit has, let me just show you. I realized I've already used some of them up. I went and put them in these little, these are pen cases that I found at Dollar Tree, which make me really happy. So I sat and I've been cutting up all the parts from all my ephemera kits and trying to keep them separated so that when I make things and somebody will say, well, what kit is that in? I won't remember. So I separated them all out. So this is the ultimate kit. And in the ultimate kit, I have tons, I have 4 sheets of all of these like numbers and little ticket things, right? They're 4 different colorways. And then there's lots of tags with Christian verses. There's a whole page of tags with different crosses in them. So that makes for really nice, quick faith ephemera to go into your kit. So what I've done on this, I showed you how we made all that. And I am going to, we're going to glue that part down so that it's a tuck from the top. Okay, so let's glue that down. Yeah, so we're going to glue, oops, I'm getting out of camera. Let me get in camera. And glue all the way around up to there, okay? There we go. And now, what I've also done is this back of this piece of paper was just plain cream colored. And so let me glue this on first and then I'll show you what I did. I used one of my stencils and everybody asks where I get, so I have a collection of almost every one that Stencil Girl has made. And then I stopped buying them because they just got so expensive. And then Temu came out last year, and so I started buying stencils from Temu. And oh my gosh, you can get a whole set of stencils, 5, 6, 7, 8 stencils for $3 or $4. So this is one of the stencils that I used on here. And I used shabby shutters to just go around there. I wanted to mimic kind of this woodland, right? And then why did I use these little tabs L and F? What does L and F mean, Diane? Well, because back over here, we're doing faith, hope, and love on the tag. And I thought that would just be a fun way as a reminder to have that on these tags. Now, I know you're gonna ask, Diane, where did you get those really cool Scrabble letters? Now, this is a digital sheet I got somewhere years ago, okay, and I still have it and I cut it up. But I wanted to let you know, if you want to make your own Scrabble letters, Sweet and Sassy Stamps, they have them. Here's the set right here. And she puts things on sale quite a bit. So go ahead and get them on sale because they just make the most fun alphabets, you know, to use when you want to do something. So they're definitely a feature piece, like an L and an F. I don't know that I would spell out. I guess you could do LOVE if you wanted to. And we just hung those on there. And then what is this piece of paper? I've talked about it previously, and back in the spring, Dollar Tree had these wonderful little inspirational journals. And I bought one day, and then I went back a couple days later because I realized, wow, the paper is actually pretty cool. And what I love that it's a woman-owned business out of Ohio that sold these to Dollar Tree. And then the next time I went back, she had like at least 8 or 9, mercy, love, hope, whatever. And so what she did was, on the top of a page, there's a Bible verse about mercy. So there's lots of verses. And then at the bottom, there's another one about mercy. And then she has the nice dotted lines, and then she puts some like flowers and stuff like that. these are the best little books. So what does Diane do is I ripped them all apart. Yeah, this was from another Mercy book. And I coffee dyed them. And now that paper that was okay turned into really nice paper because the coffee dye actually gives it a tooth is what they call it when your paper has something. It just makes it more substantial, I guess is another good word. Let me put this back on there before I really mess up my glue. And so I have a whole stack of them. They're already coffee dyed and I just trim them and I use those as notes. So you could do a whole Bible study on a verse study on the verse that's on here, or you could do it on one of these verses, right? This is Isaiah 26:3. You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast because they trust in you. And that. Now, if you're making something and you wanted to give this as a gift, let me tell you the thing that I recommend. Go ahead and you could make this piece and put it whatever kind of journal you're going to do. And on the back of the verse tags, if you get my ephemera kits, you could write a little note, faith, hope, and love. You could go and do some Bible study and maybe write some things you found, or write a note to the person that you're giving it to. You know, just say, I see faith. I see your faith, how strong it grows every day. I see how you love others. I see that you're a great example of following Jesus Christ. So they're great opportunities to really minister to people. And then you're just going to stick them right in there. And then this, I think I'm just going to leave it as a flap. And then so you could, again, I got to be careful because I criticize people. There's some places for journaling. So the focus of this series, as I'm saying to you, is how to make all these fun pieces of ephemera. What makes me different from other people that you watch showing you how to do ephemera pieces is I'm trying to sit here and think of how can I add faith to this art, to this journal. And that's what makes it special because it becomes a faith art journal. So my question for today is, have you ever bought any of these beautiful napkins? Have you ever tried to use them? Did you use Mod Podge or what did you use to put them down? Or did you ever even try the technique that I just showed you, which was ironing onto freezer paper? Would love to hear feedback. If you've done that, was it successful? Did you like it? And just tell me how that worked for you. So there's another episode, and I will say blessings, and I will see you next time for more Soulful Spaces.